Hi, I'm Ellen McCauley in Syracuse, New York at Pray It Off. Tonight's topic is stress. It's a very timely subject matter, especially when you live in Syracuse, because it's stressful just to get here to Pray It Off. And the people in this room now, it's blustery, it's snowing, it's enough to send cities like Atlanta into hiding for weeks, but we're here, we're at Pray It Off. So we're going to talk about stress this week. We're going to talk about Lent next week. And Lent does start on Wednesday, and we're going to talk about it on Thursday. Lent isn't going to be over just because we're talking about it on Thursday and it started on Wednesday. Because truthfully, Lent can happen at any time. We can be closer to God. We can talk about being closer to God. Then I mentioned we're going to talk about stress again the following week. And then after that, we're going to talk about depression. We talked about letting it go. It's so hard to let it go when you're stressed. It's so hard to not overeat when you're stressed. It's so hard to let it go when you're stressed, depressed, and living in Syracuse and the winter never seems to end. We're going to talk about some tools that we can all utilize. The main cause of obesity is overeating. But the main cause of overeating is stress. And it talks about, and we all know it, that exercise can help with stress because it, gets our minds off things. It helps us to not worry about things as much. What do you do when you can't exercise? When you can't just seem to handle it? One of the big suggestions is to remove yourself physically or emotionally, or mentally. If it's very stressful for you to go to a Syracuse Crunch game because you're thinking the puck's going to hit you in the head, don't go to the Syracuse Crunch game. Or if you're in a situation and you're afraid you're going to start worrying about something, emotionally distance yourself from that worry by praying, meditating. Mentally, same thing, emotionally and mentally. Jesus, I trust in you. Help me. We need to take time to weigh the certain reasons that are making us stressful. If we're stressful that we're late all the time, what do we need to do? Get going a little earlier. We need to get up, get going. If you're late all the time because someone else is making you late, your husband, your kids, go without them. Say, oh, you're not ready for church, honey? I'll meet you in the pew. See you there. Another thing is certain predictable situations lead to stress. If you're like watching, let's say, a basketball game, and it's a very stressful situation, should you be watching that basketball game? My husband and Vince were driving back from Carnegie Mellon on Saturday, and they couldn't get the game on the radio. And now I'm 59 years old, as you all know. My texting skills, I think, are pretty good for a 59-year-old. After Saturday's game, my texting skills, give me a 16-year-old, I'll go, because I was texting him everything, play by play. This happened, that happened. Oh my gosh, Fear, they said it was offensive. Jimmy got a technical. Oh my gosh, they're taking Jim out. I'm texting others. The cops are taking Jim out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm texting. And Vince is doing this, and they're driving, and Bob's going, oh my gosh. But it is stressful. SU basketball, stressful. But does that mean that we don't watch the games? We can watch them as long as we don't overeat or overdrink when we're watching them. Another thing that we need to talk about is this whole multitasking thing. I love tonight's cartoon, which is on the small groups page, because it's me in a nutshell. Let me read it. It says, I'm finally learning how to relax. Unfortunately, relaxation makes me tense. And it's true. If I am not defining my reason to be, if I am not saying I am valuable, I'm paying this bill, I'm doing this, even when I watch a show, I'm multitasking, I got this filing, I got this. And then then even if I'm just sitting there, I think maybe I should pray. Maybe I should do something. Did you ever really try to sit and do absolutely nothing? Nothing. Now, some people make whole careers out of that. I happen to have a little bit of a difficult time with it. I find it a little stressful. I think maybe I should be doing something. It's something I need to work on. Also, you might need to see a professional. I am a big proponent on getting some help, even if that help is a friend that you don't have to pay. One person came in here earlier tonight to show me something, and I'm like, I'm having a really bad day, and this has happened, and that happened, and that happened, and she's like, whoa, I'm really getting double dose of Ellen's bad day. And then she was so helpful to me, and I felt better, and it was free. How great is that? And I always tell people, Sunday's the best day to call me. If you want to call me and say, my life really sucks, I will listen. And I will say, you know what, it really does. I feel so bad for you. I agree with you. I'm not going to say, oh, you think yours does, sister, let me tell you about mine. Because so often I don't complain because then the other person complains and it's no longer about you anymore, it's about them. Or their uncle, sister's girlfriend who had it worse than you. Sometimes you just want to let go of your stress and you don't want someone else to say, hey, honey, I got it worse. Because guess what? There's always going to be people who have it worse. Now, if I said to you right now, my job is really stressful, you could say this, at least you got a job. What about all those people who are unemployed? Or what if I said to you, oh, I'm really stressed because I can't seem to lose weight. I'm doing all the right things. When you say, hey, you've lost a lot of weight and kept it off. You should feel better about that. Because look at the things that are really stressing you out. You can walk. You remember when you were younger and your mother would say to you, well, you should feel fortunate. You got legs, you got arms. You're like, I don't want to hear it, Mom. But it's true. If we really stop to think about it. But where does our stress come from? Work. Work is very stressful. I can't pick anyone. Maybe there's some person who says, my job is a piece of cake. There's not a bit of stress. I go there, I float on a pillow there, and I sit in a lazy boy, and everyone feeds me grapes. It's an awesome job. I don't see many people who have those kinds of jobs. If it is so stressful that you're gaining weight or smoking or drinking, you really need to update your resume. You really need to either remove yourself physically, emotionally, or mentally. Also, relationships. If you're in a toxic relationship, get counseling, talk about it, deal with it. Pregnancy and sex. I'm going to skip over that. You can read it on your own. Study and learning. I used to think, when I was in high school and college, I'd think, oh, I can't wait to get out of school because school's so stressful. I've got so much work to do and so many tests, and life is going to be so much easier when I don't have all this homework, because work is easy. You go to work, it's easy. Isn't it funny how all of our stresses are so isolated to the situation we're in? Then I did get out of school, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I'll go back for my PhD and never leave school. Now you know why there's professional students. You know, well, how old are you? 60? Have you ever worked? No, I'm going for my 4th master's and my 6th doctorate. Plan ahead for all things. This is the big thing in stress. Health problems. Health problems are very, very, very stressful. When it happens to other people that you love, when it happens to yourself. And one of the things I like to think about Pray It Off is maybe we're heading some of our own health-related issues off at the past. You know, if I hadn't have gotten out of the 300s, if I hadn't have started this group and been part of it for 6 years, where would I be? So maybe we can prevent some of these things, and the things we can't prevent in other people or our loved ones, we really need to get help, get counseling, and just try to be kind and loving towards those people. Traumatic events. So many of us, and I know, people call me, we have a lot of people who've suffered very traumatic events. And you can't just say, let it go. Just let it go. It's a process where over time you will heal, but the stress of it all, if we dwell on it, does not change it or make it any better. We do need to deal with those traumatic events. Children and teenagers. If anyone has a child or a teenager, stress. Even if they're great kids, you're stressed. How are you going to pay for college? How are you going to get them going? Etc. All right, unhealthy lifestyles. Our bodies, our machines, what we put in them, matters. What we do with them matters. I'm going to stop right there, Bob.